Hi guys, it's Blackie, and I'm out at the range today doing a little video for you. And what this video is about is how to go solo camping and make it look easy. Now I'm going to be doing a solo camp in a couple of weeks now, and this is the preparation before I go, because it's kind of like the loadout you dump out, but this is even more important. This is what and how and where and all of those things. Because when you turn on and you look on the videos on YouTube, and there's this guy and you see him pick up his pack and he closes the door of his truck and he walks off into the wilderness, and then you see him going through the trails and along the lake, and he comes up to his camping area and he sets his pack down, he sets his pack up, his tarp up, and he sits down and he begins. Everything's fluid, everything's smooth. Man, it looks so easy. It's easy if you've done the preparation. Preparation is the hard part. So let's go through a real quick my preparation for my solo camp out that's coming up. The what, when, where, and why, and the gear. Here we go. Okay, I have decided to do a solo camp out. I'm going to go, and it's what am I doing, when am I doing it, where am I going? Okay? What? It's going to be a solo camp out. I'm going to be carrying all gear, no resupply. When am I doing it? It will be in the spring of this year. So weather patterns, we'll get to that in a minute. Where am I doing it? I'm going to go through a series of where I'm going to be leaving my vehicle at friend's land and then taking dirt roads, logging roads, cutting through the woods to places to an eventual campsite that I know. Okay. How far is it from my beginning to my end? Well, my starting point to my campsite is roughly 5 miles. Okay? So we're going to say 5 miles to begin. I'm going to get there and I'm going to spend probably like 2.5 miles of exploring the area and doing stuff. And then I'm going to do 5 miles back. That's a total of 12 miles. So, 12 miles that I'm going to be hiking with gear on my back. First important question. Can my boots handle it? Made you laugh? Let me tell you a little story. I was on a 20 some odd mile hike one time, a solo, where I was going through a series of national forest land and stuff along a river and a stream and some varying terrain. And I was probably 10 miles in or something like that when my boot cracked right along there. Oh, no big deal. You know, it's just cracked. Within 5 miles, this whole front of the sole had separated, completely separated. The stitching gave up. It came off. Punk. I had a heel and my bare foot. I tried tape. I tried paracord. I tried every trick I knew. And no matter what repair I made with the gear that I had, it would last maybe a mile, maybe two, and it'd come loose again or fall off. By the time I got back to my vehicle, my foot was a bloody mess. From blisters, from stickers, from abrasions, from sand getting in there between my toes. All of that. I tried everything I had, but I had no backup for this, and I had no easy way to repair that boot in the field. And that was back in the days before cell phones. So, I'm going on a 12-mile hike. First question, are these boots up to it? Whatever the boots I'm going to wear. Make an honest assessment. Look at it. Is it got any wear coming up? Am I about to lose this? You know, is it new, old? Is it whatever? The stitching starting to show? Is it going to make a fair guess? Because trust me, if you don't do this and you're in the middle of that, you're going to regret it. First step, that piece. I checked that. Yes, this is going to do it. If these boots that I'm planning on wearing, I don't think they're going to make 12 miles, change the itinerary or change the device, one of the two. So that's my first piece of gear, boots. So on my gear list, I'm going to put my boots down. That's kind of obvious. Now, to 12 miles in, water. I'm not going to do that without water, right? So what am I going to carry? Well, hopefully at that time I'll have one of those grails. I'm trying to get the money up, get me a grail, because it looks to be a really good idea. But in the meantime, what I've got right now, I've got my U.S. Army Canteen Cup cook kit that I've showed in earlier videos. And that kit will provide me with my cooking pot. It'll provide me with my ability to sterilize water. It'll also my carry water. And all of the above in one kit. And so I'm going to need that. 5 miles in, 1/4 canteen will get me there. And then once I get there, I have a water source that I can replenish and come out. So my canteen kit needs to go. Now, I'm going to be following along parallel to a river and a couple other things. But the river flows from my northeast flowing to my southwest there, and I will always be on the right-hand side. Knowing this, going from A to B, if I ever got lost, all I got to do is head due west. I'm going to hit that river and reallocate myself or walk my way back to the car. But I could get turned around in there and get, so I need a compass. I will not need a map. I will not need my pacing beads. All I need is a compass. So if I get, for whatever reason, turned around in this thicket and I can't figure out where I am, I can find out. But it's a good backup. I'll have my basic little pocket compass as a backup. I've got a small one, the military issued, not the navigation one, but a backup one. And that one will give me a basic reading. So I will not be walking in a circle. So I'll need a compass on this trip. Okay. Now, I have reached my theoretical campsite. Now I'm setting up my base camp. Now we get into the meat and potatoes. What kind of shelter am I going to put up? I can go with, due to the fact of, remember, when. What are the expected temperatures? Here in my part of the south, in this time of the year, in the target area I'm looking for, days are going to be somewhere around 60-ish, maybe a little above. And the lows will be somewhere in the 30-ish, somewhere thereabouts. So a 30-degree temperature drop, okay? We're going to target from 60 to 30, okay? I will have to adjust that on the fly. Now, to be comfortable at 30, I definitely want to be comfortable to be able to sleep. It is miserable freezing out here. So, I can go with a tarp, I can go with a pad, and I can go with a really good sleeping bag. So that's one side of this little teeter-totter. Think of it like a sawhorse you had in school. On the other hand, I could also go with my one-wind hammock, the underquilt, the tarp, and the underquilt blanket, and then my sleeping bag. This is lighter than the pad and the big heavy sleeping bag set. For the same warmth, it is lighter, but it is more bulk. This is less bulk, but it is more weight. Now you see where you've got to swing that pendulum, that teeter-totter, to which way do I want to go? Do I want to be comfortable and I'll carry a little bit more weight? Or do I want to be, I'm willing to carry a little bit more bulk, but less weight? Also, I can get rid of the blanket, the extra pad for the underquilt, if I'll add polypropylene long underwear. I'm adding weight, but it's about 1-to-1, see? So what am I wearing versus what am I sleeping? And now you see where that pendulum starts to go. I have to decide here what I'm carrying, what I'm going to be doing to be comfortable in my shelter. If I go with the hammock set, I've got a tarp shelter as part of that. I'm up off the ground. I can have a fire relatively close by for heat reflection underneath. With the ground pounder, I can have the fire 3 feet away with a heat reflector. You got to swing that pendulum for you and what you want to do. Okay, I have picked out, I'm going to go with, for the sake of this argument, I'm going to go with the tarp, the sleeping bag, and the pad. So that is tarp, sleeping pad, sleeping bag. Okay? That's going to be my shelter system. So thus far we have figured out definitely the boots, canteen, compass, tarp, shelter, tarp, sleeping pad, and sleeping bag. Okay? Of course, haversack is a given. Now, what about food? Well, let's look at that. I will be pigging out before I bug out on my first day. So I don't need breakfast. I will just need probably a snack, a lunch, a dinner, and probably a snack. I normally eat 2 snacks and then put my big heavy dinner in cold times. About an hour before I go to bed, that's when I eat my big meal. I want to pump me, fill me up, and get my furnace going to warm me up in the sleeping bag. The next morning, I need a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, a snack, but no dinner because I'm coming out of the woods. So that tells me that I need 4 snacks, I need 1 breakfast, 2 lunches, 1 dinner, and I will pack accordingly. I'm going to be using my canteen cup cook set, so I need to be able to immersion heat, or I need to have water that I can add to, either way. But my foods should reflect that. Don't be packing a lot of, well, I may want to pick the meals, line them up, and then stock for that. Okay? Now, I've got my food planned. I've got my bedding planned. I've got my route planned. What I'm going to need to get there. What am I going to do when I get there? Because not only is that, it's the what. What am I doing here? Am I just going out to sleep in the woods? Or is there a reason for me to come here? Do I want to work on a skill? Well, there should be certain pieces of gear I want to bring with that. Is there some sort of attraction here? Is there a site I'm trying to find, like a spring head? Or is there some sort of mineral deposit I'm looking for here? Or some resource? That will be reflected in my gear. Okay? So now I've got my food stuff planned out. And I've also got my tasks planned out. That will dictate how I carry it. Because I'll pick the clothing that I want, and much of this will be selected the day of, or actually the day before. Looking at the weather, I may need to layer up a little bit more, like this woolly pulley sweater, or I may need to slide back. Maybe it's warmed up. And so I won't be wearing that. Number one is I need to be able to vent and not sweat on the way in. I need to be able to layer up when it gets cold, and I need to be able to layer down when it gets warm. In my area of the South, as I spoke about, 30-degree temperature change is possible, and even more so, but 30 degrees between daytime and middle of the night. So I need to reflect that in my choices. Notice that I'm going to be wearing. So, this basic gear set right here, what I've just detailed, will determine which rucksack, backpack I carry. Remember that. Bulk versus weight. Which way did I go? I went weight. This is going to be heavier, but more compact. So I can probably put it into my standard rucksack, carry everything there in my rucksack or on my belt with me. My knife, of course, is a given. My chopping implement is a given. Okay, that's your standard core like we've talked about. That's not going to change. This is a specific set, and so I'm dialing in for the activity. Okay. Now I pick out the haversack, rucksack, backpack, those are different sizes, for what I need to accomplish my goal. Now, on that morning, I'm going to go have everything loaded up the night before. I'm going to do my check on my list, all the gear that I needed. The morning of, I'm going to load up the car. I'm going to go do my big pig out before I bug out. I'll go eat a big heavy breakfast, get me some good food, get everything loaded up. I'll be fully hydrated, fully tanked up, so when I step onto the trail, it's easy. Now I just walk. I got the time to stop and explore and look a little. I know where I'm going. I'm not carrying bulk gear I don't need. I'm just carrying what I need for this. I've got a little extra, of course. You've got a little first aid kit, etc. But that's your core that you're not going to change. That's every time. This is just a dialing it in. I get to my site, I set up. Now I can go do whatever I wanted to do here. I can work on the task I wanted to do. When it's meal time, I already know what's for dinner. I already know what's for lunch. I reach in the sack, put it out, I eat it, heat it, whatever I got to do, and I go on. That night, I've got my shelter set up, I got my fire set up, I got my firewood prepared. I sit there and I enjoy the stars, enjoy the campfire. I sleep through the night. Next morning, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm organizing. I pack up my gear. I do my final check, and I walk out. That is how you make it look easy. Now, you start by doing these type of lists. I'm going on a solo trip. Here's what I need. Solo means you got nobody else to back it up. It's you. You're on your own hook. So I have got to dial this in. What you see in the videos of the guy just getting out of the truck and walking off into the woods, that's the tip of the iceberg. All the work he did behind the camera to make it look easy. That's the work. Well, Blackie, when do I don't have to do this? When you've got enough of them under your belt, you don't have to do this anymore because it's up here. You walk up right now and tell me, we're going on a 10-day trip to here, this time, this weather conditions, and I will be able to walk into my supply room, so to speak, where all my camping gear, and pull and mix and match, and in 10 minutes I'll be loaded up and ready to go. Because I've done this for so long, it's up here. Now I can run the mental checklist and know that, you know, that time I did this in the boot camp part, check your boots. Make sure all your gear is good to go. Do a check of the straps, check the buckles. Make sure that canteen didn't get a hole in it last time when you threw it in the truck when you was done. Now you get out there and it's dripping water. Make sure the seal's good on it. Make sure that your little stove you're bringing works and is clean. You got plenty of fuel. Make sure that your food that you're picking to take can be prepared with the gear you're toting. Things like that. Because trust me, I saw a wise statement the other day. And that statement was, what is the difference between an expert and a beginner? The expert has failed more times than the beginner has ever tried. Experience and not getting it right, you'll do a list. Hope this gives you some ideas, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below, and thank you very much for supporting my channel. Till next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.